Hello and good morning. Welcome to the most satisfying week this month. Yeah, because you decided to be a part of the most exciting breakfast show on Nigerian TV.
Yes, we can't overemphasize the importance of starting your day and your week the right way. And with us, of course, you know, if we may add, you know, just get ready for a fantastic edition of the show and a marvelous midweek edition.
It is the midweek, already halfway through the final week. And it feels like the end of the month is just right there. We can feel it. We can touch it.
Hopefully, we're not crawling into it. Like,
yeah.
Not
People are
slowly sipping away.
Crawling in. You know why?
Why?
Because the next month is an ember month. You know.
Ooh,
exactly.
That's true.
It's about
That's
time
true.
we invest in our grind right now so that we can shine later. You know, they say hustlers don't sleep.
They don't so. They don't so. Even greatness only comes before the hustle in the day. So do what you feel in your heart is right. And whether you be criticized for it or not, remember that, well, just go ahead and just do it.
Yeah. Good vibes all through this Wednesday. We are going to be asking you to stay with us for 1 hour, 45 minutes. Grab a cup of whatever it is you love to drink, and let's go at this Wednesday together.
Yes, so much excitement in the air, guys. Can you feel it? Well, I can, and there's so much to look forward to. My name is Emil Kwache.
And I'm Titilaya Oyinson. The hashtag Wake Up Nigeria on TVC is being used by all our followers and fans right now. You should be using it too on all our social media platforms, so you can be part of the best breakfast show on TV.
Yeah, remember you can also watch us live from absolutely anywhere across the world through our mobile app. All you just need to do is download on iOS or Android store.
Yes, so social media is agog right now.
It is.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of them.
Whatever happened to Threads, though?
Threads are still there.
It's still threaded away.
It's still threaded. But when it comes to threads, there is something that Dr. Seun Olabode has been talking about.
Okay.
Throughout
The month of August, right?
And it's going to be interesting to see that wrap up. Now, that's a certified counseling and psychology professional, someone with a focus on marriage and family counseling, an associate family engineering counseling professional. Seun has dedicated her career to helping people, helping relationships and marriage reach their full potential. Today, we're talking about managing long-distance relationships.
This topic seems very personal to me.
Yeah, hint, hint.
And next we have Olutayo Gabriel, a.k.a. he's also known as Castro, or Starboy Kes. He's dropped his self-acclaimed EP, and today he'll be thrilling us to his latest single. We can wait to hear that one. And finally, joining us in the couch is Kid Wire. Yes, guys, he's a Nigerian UK-based actor, TV host, social media sensation, entrepreneur, and reality star of a UK reality UK hit series, High Life. And he'll be here to share with us so much more later on. Ooh.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, yeah, that's you on leave last week.
You need to be, the while needs to be longer.
We missed you, Mike.
How are you?
You miss me more.
Yeah, mid-flash.
You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You know that song?
I know the song.
I was shocked now. Why would you know this song now? How you guys doing?
We're good.
Midweek, yeah? So, what's up? What's been happening? August on the end, though. Yeah, you were talking about Ember
It
months.
has ended already.
You were talking about Ember months and all of that. And yes, 2023 is actually quite
fast
getting
rate.
to the end.
Getting
to the end of the year.
It is.
So we just have what? 4 months?
Yeah.
Left.
It's incredible.
Oh my
how
God.
fast-
It is. Yes.
4 months.
I feel like the election took most of the year. It took, like, it felt like the preparation for the election took most of the year for Nigerians.
I agree.
And the weather situation all over the world has also been a really interesting distraction for them as well. And I use
Talking about weather. There might be some floodings very, very soon.
Yeah.
That Cameroon dam that was released that last time
yeah.
is about to be released again.
Yeah.
So in flood-prone areas, people should just get out.
Yeah.
Maybe for a while. Because I remember watching some videos where I think Agege area where you see keke or bike, you see water and then you are still going and then you feel like, you know, when you receive some motivation, if you watch Monday Motivation on Wake Up Nigeria, you feel like what I can see is not as much as what is in me.
Yeah.
And then you know I enter the, you know, so for flood-prone areas, I know that if it's in Lagos here, Agege,
There's some parts of
island.
Island is the
let's just leave it
not even just talk
Please be
about.
very
Some parts of
careful.
Ikorodu
Okay,
as well,
In the next, just get out of an area. In the next few days and weeks, will be flooded. Good morning, the news on Wake Up Nigeria. I am Mike Messicano. We begin with an update on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, where the stress and hours spent by commuters on that expressway will soon be a thing of the past. Now, this is because the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, says the ongoing reconstruction of the highway will be completed in September. Sarah Ayeku reports.
On assumption of office as Minister of Works, former Governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, described himself as a field person. True to his words, he has embarked on an inspection tour of federal projects across the country. Lagos, southwest Nigeria, is his first port of call. The inspection tour started at Outer Marina Road in Victoria Island, a project constructed under the Sukuk financing option by the federal government. It then moved to the newly rehabilitated Eko Bridge, where it was briefed by officials of the ministries and contractors handling the project. After inspecting various sections of the bridge, the minister acknowledges that he is impressed with the quality of work done by the Buildwell Construction Company, but frowned at the traders around the bridges. He's hoping the governor of Lagos State will relocate the markets.
We do not complete it quite very much on time. The bridges will collapse. And to rebuild them, apart from the inconveniences to Nigerians, it must take multiple billions to rebuild it. So it's very critical. And this project, I'm very satisfied with the work they're doing. The other sections not able to start because they still market over there.
Years after reconstruction commenced on the 127-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, completion of work on the final stretch that's along Bega and Otedola section has missed several deadlines. The minister has now given a new date.
Finish the inbound Lagos. Inbound Lagos has been completed. So what is left is just about less than 150 meters on this stretch. And once the 150 meters is completed, then we have about 1.6 kilometers of wearing course.
Up to the binder level, the whole road. We are now in the wearing course in the last kilometer, and by end of next week it will be completed.
We are very excited with the quality of work, with the speed of work. And I think that over 98% of the job will be done by the end of September.
The minister has also identified other bridges and highways due for maintenance in Lagos, one of which is the Liverpool Bridge in Apapa. Sarah Ayeku, TVC News, Lagos.
We're not foreign stories. Russian President Vladimir Putin will not go to the funeral of a Wagner mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin, who died last week in a plane crash. Prigozhin, who was President Putin's confidant turned traitor, was killed last Wednesday, 2 months after ordering his troops to topple Russia's military leadership in what observers deemed the biggest challenge to President Putin's authority since he came to power. There have been no public announcements of when or where Mr. Prigozhin, who was 62, will be buried. President Putin last week described late Prigozhin as a man who had made serious mistakes in his life, but he achieved the right results. The Kremlin has dismissed a speculation that it orchestrated the crash in revenge for Wagner's march on Moscow in June. We'll take a time out now. Stay with us. We'll be back in a bit.
Okay. Wow, it's a Wednesday, and there are still loads of powerful conversations ongoing online, especially one with regards what the younger generation are being taught and how they're being mentored. Our attention was drawn to a conversation that's ongoing on Twitter, and Tunde Onokoya is the main conversation starting here.
Yeah, so Tunde Onokoya is the founder of Chess in Slums.
Yes.
Yeah, Africa. And this is Tunde, for years now, has been mentoring young boys, or young children, because even there are a few girls in the mix as well, on how to play chess. Yeah. And these people go forward, you know, to even represent the world at different chess competitions. And, you know, it's his own way of, you know, taking children off the streets and, you know, making his own impact. And, yeah, so go ahead.
It's established that there is a clear funnel of young youths, let's not
Teenagers.
let's not even restrict it to boys now, who between that time they are leaving secondary school and are supposed to be going into tertiary institutions, find themselves idle and hungry. Essentially, that's the only term you can really think of. They end up watching their families go hungry week after week, and when they're approached by sinister individuals who want to recruit them for Yahoo or whatever it is, whatever you can call it now. There's so many different terms.
Internet fraud activities.
They almost feel like it's just the next step for them, especially in some areas. There's some places in, I think they say Benin,
Port Harcourt, Lagos.
Lagos, Ikorodu. So many different places are actually becoming farms for this Yahoo boys now. Now, the conversation essentially moved on to the fact that everybody's complaining about it, but is there anyone doing something about it?
So to buttress more on the conversation, so now we have HKs, that's what they call them. The hustle kingdoms, right? Where the mentors or Yahoo mentors or people who have, you know, who are experienced in the Yahoo business, lure these boys in, entrench them into the system. They say about 10 to 20 of them. They entrench them into the system, and then they feed them, they clothe them, they give them the tools to work with, and then, you know, use them, you know, in these fraudulent activities on the internet. And it's becoming worrisome. So what Tunde has done now, alongside somebody else, is to do the same, have the same system, or create the same system, but this time to teach the children on AI learning, cyber security, communication skills. So he's taught them a whole lot of, you know, IT and tech-related skills that they can learn. And he's also, you know, come forward to say that we need a lot more people, because what they have also come to realize is many of these children or young teenagers what they need is guidance and mentorship. So once that is provided for them, you know, they can, you know, they don't have to forge ahead.
We need more people like him. And this is just an appreciation from us to Tunde Onokoya for what he has been doing for a very long time. When you think about what he did with Oshodi under the bridge, that has always been a flashpoint. Getting kids out there to engage in some sort of a game that you can also build a future on. I mean, just last week, it was the World Chess Finals, and it was an 18-year-old that could have won. He went up against probably the best chess player ever,
imagine?
Magnus Carlsen, who is a Norwegian, and an 18-year-old from India. You know, Nigeria and India have some similarities in this kind of things. We have children out of school,
exactly,
and all of this, with a population that is kind of hard to control. That brings us to a number of factors. Yes, we need people like that, but second factor, population control. There was a time when there was this discussion about how some people, or underprivileged people, who go ahead to have 5, 6, even as much as
10 kids
in probably a shanty where they're staying. Population control. So this is me. 2 ways. There are different ways. The Ministry of Women Affairs, we need to teach them birth control tips, so that they understand family planning, so that they know they will understand that it's not every time you have pleasure that a picking has to drop from it. Number one, population control. Then, of course, this is on our own side. Then, a lot of the onus of this is on the government. Our unemployment rates, the figures I see, I don't think that they are very accurate.
But according to recent reports, the unemployment rate has reduced drastically. Reduced to 4.1% as at last week. This report came out last week. The unemployment rate in Nigeria.
The thing about reports here is that what you see on the streets. And do you know how many people I know have lost jobs in the past 6 months? It's been on the
Because of
rise.
inflation, yeah.
Because of inflation. Inflation is growing up. Where is employment coming from? How does it make sense? There are parallels that happen. There are things that happen. Somebody says when there's demand, of course, supply will increase. So when there's inflation, where did the jobs go? Even in the US, the unemployment rate is coming down. It will be going up here.
Let's not.
So my point here I'm trying to make is this, when we have done all that we need to do, government, as it were, needs to step in, and there is a lot that has to be done from their own side. They know all these kind of things. Create an enabling environment for things like this, for people like this who are doing these kind of things. Create an enabling environment, ensure that they have the support. Yeah. You understand? In this kind of ways, now, we're talking about palliatives, and I think there's been a rethink from the presidency about how to go about it. In these kind of places, it's easy to know the people that really need these kind of things. Go into these places, support these programs, get a lot of people out of these areas.
So there is the school of thought that waiting on the government to do everything might be detrimental to entire generations, because by the time the government eventually comes through, depending on what the government is planning for in the immediate future, these young people are getting older. They need mentors. If there was a time captains of industry were mentoring and influencing our young people, it used to be MDs of banks, people in government, but now those who are influencing our young people are on Instagram, on Twitter, the ones with hundreds of thousands of followers, wearing, in quote, elaborate designers, expensive clothes, moving around in expensive cars that were probably rented for a music video, not even really the reality of these artists and influencers to begin with. So this lifestyle that the young people essentially want to fuel is now being taken advantage of by these hustle kingdom kingpins, essentially. So there needs to be a little sensitization that, look, Yahoo is there. We understand it's there, and we understand that there is a particular gap it has been filling. But there are also alternatives. But the only way there can be alternatives is if people in our generation decide to teach. You have years of experience. You have years of experience.
My point about all of this, something I want to mention here, something I want to mention is this. Look, has it gotten you? They said if you don't study history, if you don't look back at what's happened, you are doomed to repeat
the same thing of the fathers. Yeah.
Look at history. Look at the rise. As much as we've been shortlisted, there's a lot you cannot do when it comes to international transactions because of where we are. We've been cut down. We are talking about limitations of the passport.
Yeah, exactly.
People are talking about how they don't know what a visa is. Why? Why would you need someone to stamp because you need to go somewhere? As much as all of this is on the increase, what am I saying? The first thing I mentioned, yes, people will do what they need to do, but you have to understand that to get us out from where we are, leadership is it. There is nothing as much as you can
well,
do.
Mike, I agree with you. There's a rule.
It can. No, it's not about the rule. If we have something so pervasive and so prevalent as it stands now, the public sector will do what they can, but more, it rises and falls on leadership. That's why we have to ensure that across. I love what the ministers are doing now. I mean, we saw the minister of the FCT, we saw the works minister. In just how many days they've already started doing what they need to do. It rises and falls on leadership.
Well, I agree with you. I think we all have a role to play in all of this, and
hear your opinion on this as well. Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC, and let's hear what you think about this particular issue. We can't wait to see it. We have a quick break coming your way, everyone. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to the kitchen, guys. With me this morning is Chef Kenna. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have quite an interesting recipe awaiting you shortly by Chef Kenna. And this morning he's making chicken suya pasta. Nice. You know, I was asking him earlier on, how do you make suya out of chicken? He's going to tell us that in a bit. So let's run through the ingredients quickly and then tell us how we're actually going to make suya out of this chicken today.
So here we have spaghetti.
Okay.
Then we have our bell peppers, the red bell, the green bell, and the yellow bell. These are carrots, onion, the suya spice, our salt, seasoning, fresh pepper, garlic, chicken, and oil.
Okay.
So you were asking...
how do we make suya out of our chicken?
Okay, so see, I'm making this at home. and I have to marinate this chicken
Okay, what are we marinating with?
with the suya spice.
Okay.
You can put a bit of salt.
Aha,
to
so
leave it-
it's actually the suya spice
yeah.
that makes the chicken a chicken suya.
Yeah.
Got it. Nice. Okay, go ahead.
So after doing that overnight, so the chicken gets like properly seasoned,
Okay.
then you,
Well, so is it possible to make your own suya spice?
yes, if you have all the ingredients and you can go to the local market and grind it yourself.
Did you make this one?
No, I bought it.
Okay, you bought it. Okay. I was just curious because I'm like, instead of buying, is it possible to make ours? But anyway, let's get right to it. So once we are done marinating our chicken with our suya spice, do we leave it for a while? What do we do with it?
Because of time, we'll not be able to leave it for a while. So basically, after this whole process, I have to prep for the meal itself because the prep is the most important thing in cooking. So I have to chop the vegetables, the garlic, the onion, then I marinate, then I start boiling the pasta. It's not a meal that takes lots of time.
Yeah, it looks very easy other than, you know, prepping for the vegetables, because I know that working on these vegetables could take a while.
Yeah.
People just like it easy and fast.
Yes.
Let's go, right? If you're just joining us, people, with me in the kitchen is Chef Kenna, and he is making chicken suya pasta. I know, sounds interesting. I know, I love pasta, right? And on your screen in a bit are the ingredients, people. If you missed out on it earlier on, you have it right there. Now, let's talk about an alternative for our chicken breast. What could we use if we don't have chicken?
Yeah, if you don't have chicken or if you don't have chicken breast.
If you don't have chicken.
If you don't have chicken, you can still use beef. Once I tried using it with prawns and shrimps, and it was really, really nice.
I know, right?
Yeah, if you want to, one wants to be a bit luxurious with their food, you could use shrimps or whatever type of protein you want to use. But chicken, beef, or maybe pork if you're a lover. Yeah.
Now that's really luxurious.
Yeah.
I mean, well, but hey, I mean, whatever is easily accessible to you, I think you can use as your protein. So we're just going to begin prepping things here in the kitchen. Chef Kenna with me, and our chicken suya pasta will be ready in a bit. But hey, while we're getting things ready here in the kitchen, let's head over to the couch for newspaper review with Mike and Titi.
Right, it's about time for us to take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the dailies this morning. And of course, Mike is with us as well on this. We're going to be starting with the Nation newspaper this morning. The headline goes thus. It says here, subsidy cut, windfall, government saves 1.83 trillion naira in 2 months. Savings to be used for projects, no more borrowing, it says here. And Elumelu says government's bold decision in Nigerians' interest. The story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 2. There is a photo story there of the present Minister of Works and Housing, Senator David Umahi, on an inspection as at yesterday of the federal bridges in Lagos yesterday. And we did see a little bit of that during the news story also, during the news bulletin. Just beneath the masthead there, it says Chief Justice of Nigeria earns more than VP. Senate President says RMAFC. NBA proposes 200% pay rise for jurists. Stock market hits highest level. Investors' return rises to 8.3 trillion naira. Story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 3. Governors lead APC battles in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa, and expect heavy rains in Ondo, Ogun, Oshun, 26 others, according to NIMET alerts. All right.
Yeah, something that you mentioned the stuff of Lagos is 5th best African city to live and work in. It's a report. I don't know. You would have to check up on page 28 to find out who put that report. But yeah, of course, the major headline, the subsidy cut windfall, the savings. I like the part where I think we're starting with not borrowing. That's a very good thing because who's going to pay these debts that we have piled up for so long. At least if we first way is to stop it, then what do we do with these savings? That is the most important thing. That is the question that's being put out.
Yeah.
We are on a path towards recovery, as it were. Hopefully, it goes according to plans, or whatever, detours or mishaps, as it were, along the road are things that we can overcome. We need to get the economy back and functional as soon as possible.
And it kind of feels like this is the most transparent we've been as a nation in terms of actually having conversations about where this money should go and what are the priorities. There's so many. There's a long list of priorities, to be honest. Which comes first is still in question. So that's what we have on the cover of The Nation. Let's see what we have on the cover of The Guardian newspaper. It says here, CBN BDCs on collision course as FX black market premium widens. Page 6 has more on that. It also shows a photo story there. Naira loses 41% value as premium between dollar widens by 19%. And it shows clearly what it's like for other African countries as well. Of course, Nigeria and Sudan being right there at the top of that list, 40.7, minus 40.7. All right, we have also here private sector okays Tinubu's reform seeks input from in federal government's 8-point agenda. Federal government promises completion of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway by mid-September. And what else do we have here? Police disrupt gay marriage, arrest 67 guests in Delta State. On insecurity, Niger proposes amnesty to bandits.
So there was actually, people came together and I feel it's a prank. They do just go, it's a prank video. Like, they actually came together in a country that has laws. It might not be optimal for you, but as it stands, we're living in a country where we have laws that punish such an offense. And you actually put together a wedding, you came together, how make it make sense? All of them should face the course of law, as it were, not because, like I said, it might not be optimal for you, but for the fact that it is law here. You can't do that. You can't.
There was some insinuations that it was a skit, that it was for a movie, that it was for a film. There was some, It
has to be. It has to be because where's the boldness coming? It has to be. Like I said, whatever your personal feelings about it, in this case, it does not matter. Why? Because it is law in Nigeria. You understand?
And
maybe
if
you can
it
move
was
to somewhere else
an
where it is not law.
actual wedding, then if it was an actual wedding, yes, definitely.
Yeah, it has to be a skit.
I feel like it was a skit, but we will definitely.
Yeah, on the Punch, there's something I want to mention. A few queues hit Lagos and others as thieves vandalized pipelines. This was yesterday. I was trying to get some fuel and all of that, and I found that a number of stations were shut down or were closed. Of course, there's been talk about the pump price, the official pump price increasing due to the fact, of course, the disparity between the FX rates, as it were, even though we have collapsed them into one particular rate, but of course there's still the black market, and it is not exactly the same as the official rate. So as it stands, but now the talk about is that marketers are blaming this fuel scarcity on pipeline vandalism. In fact, the marketers, or the annotation underneath that headline goes on to say that marketers halt petrol loading, blame vandals for disruption, and more filling stations shut as import hiccups hurt supply. Man.
This is a matter that the country has been dealing with for over a decade. The issue of vandalized pipelines. And I feel like there has to be something more that can be done to sort of circumvent and make sure that this doesn't happen as often as it is happening now. Now, the fact that there has been a halt loading petrol is also a big issue. What can be put in place to make sure that this vandalization is repaired quickly, and what are the cost implications of that? That's something to consider. The Cameroon dam opening is on the top left there. It says 700 billion naira CBN farmers loan under threat in flooded states, which also now goes to food security issues because we've already...
It will affect. I was almost talking about how the food prices have increased, of course, due to transportation of goods and all of that. And then how do I put it now? It's not legal. The levies that they pay. I saw this video that went viral at one time online where he had over 20 receipts of dues that he had to pay, 20, almost 30, and even more dues he had to pay at different stops along the road. And when he puts all this money together, who bears the brunt? He, of course, will bear some, but the end user, the consumer, that's why the yam will be expensive, even as much as it. But this one is major. In this kind of war now, there's nothing personal can do. I know that there's been discussions between the Cameroon government and all of that. We know that these things will happen. We have to preempt, and it's big, it's major. They cannot they cannot discomfort themselves. That's talking about Cameroon. They released the dam. There has to be that. The last year, there was that talk about how, they sent notification and Nigerian government and NEMA said, no, they didn't receive notification. Oh, it was supposed to be a week before, a week after, and all of that. But this time, it seems that they're on the same page. I don't know what the plan is. I have not yet said, but hopefully something is done because, like you said, farmlands are the first. These things, 26 states. Yeah. Most of these states are the states where we get most of our food.
Our produce, yes.
You know, Benue is the food basket of the nation. That state, as it stands, is very, very much at risk of flooding in this kind of scenario.
So it's actually, you know, we mentioned earlier on that people can move from their houses, but you can't exactly uproot the produce that is already it's almost harvest season for a lot of different produce immediately after the rains have come and gone. So it is one of those situations that needs to be dealt with and dealt with soon. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, I think that's it. We're wrapping up on the headlines in the dailies at this point, but we'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the stories. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and let us know what you think. Let's take a quick stop right here. Getting a little bit heated in the studio right now because the conversation we're about to have is an interesting one. It's a fine line, if you ask me, but let's get straight to it. We have Dr. Seun Olabode in the building, a certified counseling and psychology professional, someone with a focus on marriage and family counseling, and as an associate family engineering and counseling professional, she's dedicated her career to helping people, relationships, and marriages achieve their full potential. We've had a really interesting series so far, and today we're wrapping her season up on the show with this topic, long-distance relationships. It's great to have you back in the studio.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back.
All right, so the anxiety around having your partner hundreds of miles away from you for long periods of time, it's daunting for an average couple, you know? But what is the first piece of advice you give a couple who are probably still together but anticipating that split?
So my advice to them is to spread their cards on the table. They should be sincere with themselves. Why are we doing this? What do we have to gain? Then prior to the departure, they should know the sacrifices they will have to make and ask themselves sincerely, are we willing to pay the price?
Okay.
Because sincerely, it is not distance per se that ruins relationship or marriages.
Okay.
It is lack of adequate communication and openness. So you might be together. If you are not communicating well, you are not being intimate, you are not being sincere, you are not watching out for each other, you can be living under the same roof and it will still not work out.
So you're saying that relationships and distance are not always a negative?
No.
Okay. So we have established that there are quite a few couples who are living apart, especially since this whole Jackpot to Canada thing started. There are some men who've sent their wives and kids abroad, maybe because it's easier on school fees, maybe it's because they just feel their children will thrive better abroad. But there is that distance. And then the issue of intimacy comes up. How do you keep that intimacy, that fire burning when you're so far apart?
So it depends on who you marry, but there are certain generic rules that could apply.
Okay.
One of the rules is setting your goals.
Okay.
So you want to know, how long are you going to be away?
Okay.
During the time when you are away, what are the things we are supposed to individually accomplish? Am I supposed to learn a course, get a certification, and things like that? Then when are we coming together and how? When means, okay, I'm going to be away for 3 years. That means we're coming back together maybe December 2026. Then how? Are you the one coming back? Am I the one joining you?
Okay.
Apart from that, relevant communication is important because out of sight could be out of mind if relevant communication structure is not in place.
So you're saying put an actual structure in place for communication.
You need structure.
Rules,
you need structure because of time differences and the nature of each person's job. Some people work night shifts, some work day shifts. So there has to be structure so that it will be a time that will be convenient for the two people. Then, apart from that, you also need to be there for them, although you are not physically there. Being there for them is helping them in any way you can to find their footing where they're going, to have a soft landing. If you have friends and families there that can help them, you can reach out to those friends and families to help them. And if you don't, you can go online, find the closest grocery shops to them, the closest train stations and things that can help them make their life easier. Also, you have to find ways to cement trust because minds of people can run wild when their spouses are not around them. So anything that can make them doubt your integrity, credibility, and you avoid it. For instance, probably you are speaking to them and a voice is heard underneath. And once the voice is heard underneath, don't wait for the other person to say, who is that? You tell them, oh, I'm still in the office. Switch from audio to video. See my colleague see my boo or see my bae. By saying that, the person knows that there's nothing, no strings attached, it's just this person. Then you might also want to surprise them with gifts. You are not there, but there are special occasions, their birthdays, and days that are memorable to them. Contact vendors that are reliable. Let them surprise them with cakes, with African-made dishes and things like that. And you might also...
Go ahead.
And you might also want to be there for them by establishing times of fun and memorable times together. Time of fun could be watching movies together. It could be watching soccer together, taking online courses together via FaceTime or Zoom. And it could also be phone sex. If you are a couple and you are Libra or you are expressive enough to make that happen, there could be phone sex. There could be...
So honestly, I feel like this conversation is a lot longer than we have time for, but you have established different ways and strategies and structures here, and I only wish we had time to go further with it. But hopefully it's helpful to you as you begin your journey, possibly into a long-distance relationship. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Welcome, Mom.
All right, there, Dr. Seun Olabode there. And we have quite a bit of space right there for you on social media to use for your comments and contributions. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. We can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Very profound conversation there. Thank you so much, Dr. Seun. Welcome back to the kitchen, guys. With me is Chef Kenna, and he is making chicken suya pasta. Yes, people. Chef Kenna, where we at? Let's go.
Okay, now we've put the pasta inside the water.
Okay.
We have to allow the water to boil.
Okay.
So it's easier for you to get, it's faster for you to get done.
Okay.
So...
Did you add anything to the water?
Yes, we added a bit of oil so the pasta does not stick. So now we are heating up our pan.
Okay.
So we start the stir fry for the pasta.
All right. So quickly run through the ingredients for our stir fry.
Okay. Here is the carrots, the yellow bell, the red bell, the green bell. Then here is the garlic, chopped garlic, onion, fresh pepper, and the chicken.
Yes.
So
now let's talk about the chicken, which is the, I think it's the most important element in this dish.
Are you sure? More than the pasta?
Well, the chicken adds that extra flavor to the pasta, doesn't it?
Okay.
Great. So yeah, let's talk about the chicken. Okay.
Now, I've salted the chicken. I've added a bit of seasoning to it before adding my suya spice. As you can see, I'm marinating the the chicken.
Yeah, so I see that you shredded it.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like cut it in the shape of the whole vegetables. They are all in the julienne shape, so they are how would I put it, in accordance.
Yeah, so it's coordinate. There's a coordinate.
Yes.
Everything is in, aligned or
Yes,
in line
uniform.
with, and information.
Yes.
Nice.
So
okay, so now that the pan is already heated
up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add a bit of oil.
Vegetable oil.
Yeah. So I'm going to save a bit because the suya spice has this tendency of
Soaking
consuming
into the oil. Okay.
So if you're not careful and you use all your oil at once, you might end up not having
enough
oil
for the stir fry.
Yeah. So occasionally you can still stir your pasta apart from the fact that you've added oil,
Okay.
so it doesn't stick.
Okay.
That's if you are making like in large quantities. For instance, you are not making so much now. Say you are making for a whole family and you are using like one or maybe two.
So now that is one interesting hack for you. Always add a little bit of vegetable oil in your pasta just when you're about to cook it. So that way it's not clustered, like it's not, sticking together and you have them, in separate. And we're heating up our stir fry, all of the veggies, the chicken suya, which has already been marinated, will go into the pan. And at the end of the day, we're getting a one-pot dish, right?
Yes.
All right, great. Interesting stuff happening here in the kitchen. Pretty excited about this morning's recipe. I hope you are as well. We still have so much in store for you on the show today, people. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. And if everything seems to be under control, you are not going fast enough. So,
Yeah.
maybe it's time do we pump the brakes or do we hit the accelerator?
Let's just establish the fact that opportunity sometimes is missed by some people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's dressed in overalls, it looks like work.
Right.
But you need to be open to new things, new opportunities. Might not come in that nice package you're expecting. But you'll be surprised how far you might go if you just put your mind to it.
It's like saying don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
All right. Good morning, people, and welcome to the second lap of your premium family entertainment breakfast show. It is Wake Up Nigeria.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's an exciting time, and we have about 45 minutes of pure entertainment still coming your way. So you need to sit back, relax, and stay right there.
Yes.
My name is Titilayo.
And I am Email Kwache. Remember, you can use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC across all our social media platforms to be a part of the best breakfast show on Nigerian television. Yes.
Remember, you can also watch us live because we're live from absolutely anywhere, as long as you have the internet. We have a mobile app. You can download that from Google Play or iOS.
We also implore you to follow us on all our socials. We have Facebook, we're on X, formerly known as Twitter, right? Exactly. We're also on Instagram, guys, and we're on LinkedIn. Are you following us on LinkedIn? Yes, we are all on these platforms at TVC Connect. Now let's get to what we have lined up for the second hour.
Olutayo Gabriel, a.k.a. Kestru, or let's say Starboy Kes. He dropped his self-acclaimed Starboy EP on the 4th of February this year. It's been making quite a lot of, buzz out there. He's going to be performing right here on the show. Now, Kid Wire is a Nigerian, UK-raised actor, TV host, social media sensation, entrepreneur, and so much more. There's quite a lot about this particular individual that we would love to dig into. He strives to produce insightful and inspiring, entertaining content, and we want to see what makes him tick. He'll be right here on the couch very soon.
Ooh, living the vida loca.
Yeah, so I was going to ask who here has been in a jet?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
What?
Which of she is looking for answer? I'm giving an answer.
So there's that. I don't know. It's.
What about Christmas?
You know why?
Why?
You know why?
Why?
Because it seems like something a lot of influencers have done in recent times to, make a buzz on social media.
No,
they
it's
do
to create
photo
an
shoots,
impression.
videos, and the like. But those who actually use them, you hardly ever see them take pictures inside there.
You know that.
What?
Funny enough, this is maybe this is the first time I'll be saying this on air, but private jets are not my thing.
Really?
Especially the very small ones.
Okay.
Why?
turbulent.
Are you
roads.
afraid?
Oh, turbulence.
I'm
Smaller
telling you, the small.
Okay.
I remember the smallest plane I've ever, and I didn't enjoy it.
Mm.
And so because of that, so when I see Airbuses 380 and all,
Yeah.
so when you see the Saudi places, when they outfit the very big
Yeah.
ones as private jets, I've not gotten into such, but I would like to get into such. But these small ones, they're not that fun. You know those ones you'll be bending your head to enter. They are not. I am telling you, those things are like Molway in the sky.
Wow.
Yes.
My-
So most of those, especially the
chest.
smaller ones, the smaller ones, they I mean, you not see some of them. The few ones that try to do video when they're in turbulence, it's
Yeah.
not like normal planes.
Yeah, it's
the turbulence,
yeah.
the turbulence
They
of
get
those
to them,
face,
yeah.
I tell you, those things that get private jets is Molway in the sky.
All right.
So
So
they are very here like this.
Worry.
The next is to shout Marina or something from the sky. Molway in the sky. So I would say that don't too aspire. I would rather the bigger ones, those small ones.
okay.
You
All
know,
right.
in the not be a German. I just
But if you want to
cruise.
experience it, this is where I plug that if I have access to, opportunity. If you want to, get in the
want to experience Molway in
You
the
should have
sky.
asked
from
Come and talk
Lagos
it.
to Abuja, Lagos
Come and
Port
talk
Harcourt.
to want to
Yes,
experience
I
Molway
am
in the
a
sky.
broker, people. I'm a broker. Just check
So
out.
it is not. This is telling
Just saying.
Oh my God.
What?
Don't try. It was I did not like the experience. So.
Oh.
It's not for every. It's not for this thing.
Flying generally is actually an experience. Some people, even no matter how big the size of the plane is actually an experience not a lot of people enjoy. And it depends on, especially how they were introduced to it. Is it something they started when they were younger or maybe...
Exactly. Oh, that's what I follow too. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, the bigger ones when you get the Airbuses where you have 10 seats in a row and all of that. Those ones when you go inside, if turbulence shake that one, you don't say nah. Turbulent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the news once again on Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Mike Messikeno. Workers and civil society groups have called for implementation of the ILO Convention C-190 for effective fight against gender-based violence and workplace harassment in Nigeria. They made the call at a national program in Lagos organized for working women in Nigeria. Senior correspondent Sharon Ijasan reports.
On assumption of office as Minister of Works, former Governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, described himself as a field person. True to his words, he has embarked on an inspection tour of federal projects across the country. Lagos, southwest Nigeria, is his first port of call. The inspection tour started at Outer Marina Road in Victoria Island, a project constructed under the Sukuk financing option by the federal government. It then moved to the newly rehabilitated Akko Bridge, where it was briefed by officials of the ministries and contractors handling the project. After inspecting various sections of the bridge, the minister acknowledges that he is impressed with the quality of work done by the Buildwell Construction Company, but frowned at the traders around the bridges. He's hoping the governor of Lagos State will relocate the markets.
We do not complete it quite very much on time. The bridges will collapse. And to rebuild them, apart from the inconveniences to Nigerians, it must take multiple billions to rebuild it. So it's very critical. And this project, I'm very satisfied with the work they're doing. The other sections not able to start because they still market over there.
Years after reconstruction commenced on the 127-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, completion of work on the final stretch that's along Bega and Otedola section has missed several deadlines. The minister has now given a new date.
Finish the inbound Lagos. Inbound Lagos has been completed. So what is left is just about less than 150 meters on this stretch. And once the 150 meters is completed, then we have about 1.6 kilometers of wearing course.
Up to the binder level, the whole road. We are now in the wearing course in the last kilometer, and by end of next week it will be completed.
We are very excited with the quality of work, with the speed of work. And I think that over 98% of the job will be done by the end of September.
The minister has also identified other bridges and highways due for maintenance in Lagos, one of which is the Liverpool Bridge in Apapa. Sarah Ayeku, TVC News, Lagos.
Apologies for that. That report, of course, is of the Minister of Works and Housing, Dave Umahi, on a walking visit to Lagos. We'll bring the report on gender-based violence some other time. Now, moving on to foreign stories, Russian President Vladimir Putin will not go to the funeral of Wagner mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin, who died last week in a plane crash. Late Prigozhin, who was President Putin's confidant turned traitor, was killed last Wednesday, 2 months after ordering his troops to topple Russia's military leadership in what observers deemed the biggest challenge to President Putin's authority since he came to power. There have been no public announcements of when or where Mr. Prigozhin, who was 62, will be buried. President Putin last week described Late Prigozhin as a man who had made serious mistakes in his life, but he achieved the right results. The Kremlin has dismissed a speculation that it orchestrated the crash in revenge for Wagner's march on Moscow in June. And that's where we draw the curtains on news for this morning. Stay with us. We'll be back in a jiffy.
Welcome back.
Yes, we have quite an interesting guest on the show today, people. And he is Kid Wire. Yes. He's a Nigerian UK-raised actor, TV host, social media sensation, entrepreneur, and reality star of the new UK hit series High Life.
Yes, so it's debuted on Channel 4, and of course, the Big Brother series, you know, everyone has heard your name in there as well for many different reasons. Kid is striving to produce insightful, inspiring, entertaining content and at the same time sort of tackle some of the stereotypes that represent today's multicultural community more accurately. Representing Nigeria.
Yeah, all over the world.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Kid.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
All right, so first off, I just saw Davido and I'm like, oh, how was that experience? Because I know you guys were together last week, touring and having fun.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that experience quickly.
When we went to Ghana?
Yeah.
But Ghana, that was actually my first time.
In Ghana?
In Ghana, which is crazy because, like, I've got a lot of fans in Ghana and I should have went the first time when I did the BBN show. Yeah. But going there was absolutely amazing. As soon as I got there, people came up to me, Kid, we loved you on the show. They're very friendly, beautiful people. And we were only there for one night, literally one night. Okay. Got in there early, flew back the next day. But yes, met up with my good friend David, went out, had fun, you know, met some of our friends out there and sort of just like a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Good. So you know, you can understand how it's sort of hard for us to think, oh, this is your first time going to Ghana because, you know, you come from quite an elaborate background and you've expressed quite an elaborate lifestyle, which would sort of say, oh, you've had multiple experiences the average young person your age hasn't experienced before. You know, let's talk about what it was like growing up with a father like yours, Terry Wire, socialite, businessman. Talk to us about how it was growing up.
I mean, look, my dad made everything easy. I mean, growing up in the surroundings we grew up in, we didn't really know the alternative because you're always protected from the things your parents want to protect you for. So yeah, he made everything easy. You know, the private schools, the holidays, and all those amazing things that come with someone like my father. But I see it as, you know, he's carrying a torchlight. He's going to hand over the torchlight for me, and I'm going to take that torchlight and go further with it, which is what I'm trying to do. You know, but you know, he made things easy, he made us comfortable, but he instilled very good morals. Him and my mother instilled very good morals in me to be able to make the family proud and do good in the world, as opposed to just using all of that and doing the opposite, you know, sleeping around, having fun and not giving anything good back into the society. So.
Yeah. I mean, you just said it. You had a very easy background. And there were a lot of speculations and a lot of questions as to if he is coming from a well-to-do background, what is he doing in the Big Brother house? This is a reality TV show where there are a lot of people who are looking for the fame, looking for, you know, some way to just, you know, get out there, promote their brands. And here you are, someone from a socialite background. What are you doing in the house? So what compelled you to go into the Big Brother house the first time and even for the second time?
I mean, first of all, we need to change the narrative that the show is for a certain type of people. Otherwise, that's basically saying people like me can't go into the show. Okay. And that's exactly preaching against what people don't want to be doing, you know. So it's supposed to be for everyone, it's inclusive. But of course, this is the biggest platform, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa, right? It's got the biggest numbers. Okay. Africa has about 1 billion people. Yeah. Imagine all that. All that numbers. You can go there and promote yourself, go there and promote your business. So me going there, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted the fame. I wanted the exposure.
Okay.
because I had a lot of plans for myself and for the people around me. So I knew to do that, the best step to get there was this platform. So that was mission accomplished for the first time over.
Okay.
The second time over, I wanted to promote my businesses.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I went to go and do, my foundation and my personal company. So I think with these things, you need to know exactly what you want to go and achieve before you go there. Because some people go there with no plan and they think that, you know what, I'll go there, become famous, I'll sit back and the money will start coming in. That's a big lie, and that's how a lot of them fail.
Yeah.
If you think about the ones from the very first Big Brother or even from 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
how many of them do you still know today? It's actually very difficult to maintain that level of exposure.
Yeah.
So you have to go there with a plan. Don't go there with the idea of thinking you're going to get famous, get all these followers, and then the money will start rolling in. That's not how it works. So I went there with a plan.
Okay.
We should touch on these businesses and these activities you're doing. You want there to promote your business and your foundation. Which one do you want to talk about first?
We can talk about business.
Okay. Talk
Yeah.
to us about that.
So Kid W & Co. Started, actually, let me go back a bit.
Okay.
So I actually started this probably in 2010, unofficially. So, you know, growing up around my dad, I had a lot of these powerful men come into the house, you know, whether it's the vice presidents, heads of banks, senate presidents, all these kind of people throughout all industries. And I was very good at relating to them and talking to them and staying in contact and getting their contact details.
Okay.
You know, and I never knew what I would use it for. I just kind of like to relate to these people. And when I became like 18, 19, 20, around that age, I decided that, okay, I've got all these contacts and all these people. Let me try and do something with it. So I set up my company then, which is called Kid and Fraser.
Okay.
Actually, Fraser was my other business partner. And it was basically about, you know, connecting people and, you know, making those kind of deals. I made so much loss.
essentially.
PR. I made so much loss then. The first couple of years, I didn't make any money at all. I was overly confident, very inexperienced.
Okay.
I basically just stopped for about 8 years until I went on BBN. After BBN, the first time I went, opened me to a lot of other things like brands, exposure, more celebrities, more friends. Then I knew exactly what to do with these contacts of the people in the high society of Nigeria and these celebrities who have exposure. I connected the two together.
Okay.
Yes. So then when I went about a year after the first BBN, I went to the UK.
Yeah.
There's a massive emergence of Afrobeats, which was taking over the world. They now wanted to work with Nigerians, but they didn't have the person in the middle who can actually do the right job.
Yeah.
And that's where Kid W & Co comes in. We're basically the gap between the rest of the world and Nigeria, you know. So
Representing Nigeria all the way.
no, of course, I like to see myself as one of Nigeria's greatest exports.
Oh,
You know,
great.
so
Okay. So talking about being one of Nigeria's greatest exports, you currently have a reality TV show, which is High Life. Talk to us about High Life a little bit and what inspired, you know, the reality show.
So High Life is not actually new. It was released in 2021
Okay.
on Channel 4 with my amazing friends. It's got a great cast. You know, Cuppy's there, Camille is there, Tony Tone is there, Tommy is there, Irene is there, and Chifa. And basically, it's about unapologetic, hardworking, driven British Nigerians excelling in their industries. So that was the first show I did in UK, which then led me to do multiple other shows. But this was on the back end of Big Brother. You know, UK is obviously where I've grown up. Nigeria is where I'm from. So I'm trying to like attack both industries. And that was the first thing I did to sort of get me out into that market. So it's done quite well for me.
Okay, great. Now that we have discussed your business and your foundation, let's go back to the gossip. Because I have gossip.
Let me take some water
take some water.
to wetten my mouth.
Yes,
Okay.
because we're about to get to the nitty-gritty of this conversation. All
right.
Thank you very much. So, prior to your eviction from the Big Brother house, right?
Yes.
There were a few comments, or distasteful comments from one of the Big Brother contestants in the house, with Shea Awolowo. I would like to hear your thoughts on it. Secondly, there was also reports about your mom saying that she was going to sue Shea Awolowo for certain comments that he made about you. Let's talk about that, Kid Wire.
In that order?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So the comments Shay made, for me, I'm totally against it. Of course I am. You know, I could end up having a daughter, and I've got many friends that have daughters. So I believe every man is against that. But it won't be too fair if I talk too much about it, because he's going to have to come out here and defend himself. and he can't do that because he's still in the house. But of course, I stand against that as well as any other decent human being. And I would like to believe he didn't mean what he said, because of course, as you all know, Fraud has just become a father to a beautiful baby girl. And I'm sure if he sees these comments, he's not going to be very happy. So we would like to believe those weren't Shay's intentions. And when he comes out, I'm pretty sure he's going to have a lot of explaining to do, you know. So I want to believe he didn't mean to say those things.
Yeah, and then
I'm against it.
Okay.
And then with Shay, first of all, I didn't see it as a threat. I had a lot of drinks that day, and I think he was speaking a lot of like slang that I didn't even understand. So that's why my reaction was more.
You were cool about
it. I was cool about it. Yeah. You know, my only thing going through my head was, Ike's upset. Ike's my guy.
Okay.
Let me go and speak to Ike. So I didn't see it as a threat. And, you know, a mother is doing what any mother would do, like trying to protect her son. Her son. I haven't spoken to her about it, you know, but she knows she's not going to take it further than that. You know, what happens in the house should stay in the house. And that's the thing, when you're under so much immense pressure, it's just the nature of the game, you know. So I don't take anything personally, and I'm not going to, you know, even speak to Shay about that when he comes out the house, because to me it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a big deal.
Okay. What do you think about Shay?
What I think? That was the first time I think I've met him. He's actually a funny guy. We got along quite well in the house. He was quiet, minded his own business. I definitely know he's a loving father and a good family man. We didn't spend so much time together, but from the times we did spend together, we were just making a lot of jokes.
All right.
So I have no bad sort of
feelings
towards him or anyone in the house. I'm a very loving person, you know.
Yeah, we actually feel that. We feel that energy. I actually felt that energy even just watching you on screen. And we honestly, we wish you really well with all your projects and endeavors moving on. And of course, as soon as you start some of them, come back, talk to us about it.
Yes,
and we'll
I'd love to.
Especially about the foundation, because
you have quite
interesting projects there. But now that we've taken so much from you, it is time to whet your appetite.
Yes.
Right? So we have
food
in the kitchen. Yes, Chef Kenna has been hard at work making something interesting. I hope you love pasta. So
I love
pasta.
To
the kitchen now.
Okay.
All right, hold up. Let's go.
My ego was make I dance. Biggie, I'll dance for you. Only you. Don't worry.
All right. Welcome to the kitchen, Kid Wire. This is Chef Kenna, and this morning he's made for you chicken suya pasta.
Chicken suya pasta. Interesting.
Yes, a lot of love went into that meal, so we'd like you to have a taste. Let us know what you think. Here you go.
Drum roll.
So when you went to Ghana, what did you enjoy the most? What was the food you enjoyed the most?
I didn't actually eat local food. We were there for one night and they just took us to like really fancy restaurants. So unfortunately, I couldn't eat local food, but I just love the energy of the people. They're so very loving and welcoming.
All right. So let us know what you think about the chicken suya pasta. Well done, Kenna. Well done.
I like the spice.
Oh, nice.
There's definitely a kick to it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Which is good. Me, I like creamy pastas, but I also like dry ones. But I think this is like a morning or early afternoon kind of dish as opposed to like a evening heavy one.
Yeah.
So I think the colors are great. And the spices are nice as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well done.
Well done, Chef. It's been a wonderful time on the show. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.